who's actually going to get the most out of a 400 amp MIG gun with a 15-foot cable? Who should walk away before they spend their budget, and does the price make sense for a typical weekend welder? Those are the questions that keep most buyers up at night, especially when the specs look impressive but the real-world experience is a mystery. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first saw the Bernard 360 Q4015AE8EMC, the headline "Best of the Best BTB Platform MIG Gun" caught my eye. It's a bold claim, and I could feel the hesitation that many of us feel. Is this the kind of tool that will actually improve my workflow, or am I just buying a flashy name? The biggest risk with a high-amp MIG setup is ending up with a gun that's either overkill for everyday projects or underdelivered when you finally need that extra power on a job site. The price point sits in the upper mid-range for MIG guns, which means you're expecting something that can handle serious duty cycles without sacrificing control. Let's start with the category itself. MIG guns are the handheld interface between your power source and the weld pool, and they come in a variety of designs: lightweight handheld units for hobbyists, heavy-duty platform guns for production environments, and everything in between. The platform style, like the Bernard we're looking at, usually means the gun is mounted on a sturdy base or rail, giving you steadier hands and less fatigue when you're running long beads. That design choice is often favored by fabricators who need consistent arc quality over extended runs, especially in automotive or structural steel work. Now, who should consider adding this Bernard gun to their toolbox? If you're a professional welder who spends most of the day on repetitive welding tasks, the 400 amp capacity offers a wide sweet spot for thicknesses ranging from thin sheet metal up to roughly inch plate, depending on your shielding gas mix. The 15-foot cable is a practical advantage when you're dealing with large frames or working in a shop where the power source sits a distance away from the weld zone. You won't be constantly crawling over to the generator or pulling a short cord through the middle of a workspace. The platform mounting also reduces hand strain, which can be a real benefit during marathon shifts. On the flip side, if you're an occasional DIYer who only fires up a MIG once a month for small home repairs, the Bernard might be more than you need. A 400 amp gun is typically paired with a power source that can sustain that output, and that means you'll likely need a heavy-duty inverter or generator. For a hobbyist, the extra horsepower translates into higher electricity costs and a larger, heavier setup that's harder to store in a garage. In those cases, a compact handheld MIG gun with a 200 amp rating and a short, flexible cable usually does the job just fine. The practical strengths of this Bernard gun start with that 15-foot cable. In many shop layouts, the welding machine is bolted to a concrete slab while the workpieces sit on a rolling table or a separate station. A longer cable eliminates the need for a second power distribution unit or a tangled mess of extension cords, which can be a tripping hazard. Moreover, the platform design provides a solid base for the gun, keeping the trigger and trigger guard in a fixed position. When you're running a long, straight seam, that stability can make a noticeable difference in bead consistency, especially when you're trying to keep the torch angle exact. Another advantage is the sheer amperage. With 400 amps at your disposal, you have the flexibility to dial down for thinner material and ramp up for thicker sections without swapping guns. That means less downtime and fewer tool changes, which is a hidden productivity boost on larger jobs. The platform also tends to dissipate heat more efficiently than a handheld unit, so you'll notice the gun staying cooler during long runs, potentially extending the life of internal components. However, the same features introduce some practical downsides. The platform mount adds weight and bulk. If you need to move the gun around a cramped shop or take it on a job site where space is limited, the extra mass can be a nuisance. You'll likely need a sturdy cart or a dedicated mounting rail, which is an additional investment. The 15-foot cable, while convenient, is also a bit of a double-edged sword. It's heavier and can become a snag point if it's not neatly coiled when not in use. In high-traffic environments, that extra length can get caught on equipment or even cause a tripping incident if you're not vigilant about cable management. Another consideration is compatibility. The Bernard platform gun is built to work with a range of power sources, but not all welders support the full 400 amp range out of the box. If your existing welder caps at 250 amps, you won't be able to leverage the top end of this gun's capability, and you might end up paying for power you can't use. Before you buy, double check.